Shut up and sit down.
Some people just don't understand how basic things work.
Because technology is bad.
I wake up, I get dressed, go back to sleep, get up again, and then I slowly creep through the house. It's getting dark, I can't see. Make sure that I lock the door behind me. I head downstairs, unlock the bike, hop on and say peace out to the night. Y'all, the sun is slowly rising in the east. It's just another day, part of another week. I hit the street, make a right, head up the hill, wait at the light so that I don't get killed by an early morning driver. I'm an early morning bike rider, and I'ma try to...
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. Enjoy the show and thank you for listening. Wait, crap, I forgot to edit this vanilla intro they send me every week. I guess I need a vacation. Do any of you want to go camping with me?
Let's go camping!
I got to go on my bicycle. That's how I roll. I set of 14 gears and a pair of wheels. When I'm on my bicycle, don't do tricks cause I got no skills. When I'm on my bicycle, I just...
Hi, welcome to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today I'm here with Evan Price.
How is it going? I'm in Lance's seats again. I'm keeping this thing warm for you, Lance.
Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Good. And live on location, Lance Romance.
Lance Romance, yes, on location, coming at you from Mesa, Arizona today.
Mesa, okay.
Good to see you, Lance Hepler.
Thank you.
I can see you today, and that's an awesome thing. So if you are listening to our live stream and watching the live stream on YouTube, you'll actually see Lance's little romancy face there.
Right,
Wow.
right here. Hold on, let me see if I can touch Lance's head up close. There we go.
Yeah, we need to put your layer on top of his layer so you can scratch his head. So
everything I say goes over Lance's head anyway, so now this is physically going over his head.
Good stuff. There's my one for the day. Got it done and over with. Put it to
first,
bed.
like 30 seconds.
All right. Welcome back for another show, you guys. Guess what? Number 50.
Whoa,
Oh,
really?
I forgot this was the
This is
50th.
number 50.
Number 50.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh.
Does that mean we've almost been doing this podcast for a year? 'Cause
We're closing in on a year.
We're
we don't
coming up
usually
on a year.
miss it.
We did have a couple podcasts. I think there were two, maybe three, where weeks where we did 2 in 1 week. So each one of those counted. So we're coming up pretty soon here on the annual birthday celebration, whatever.
March or something?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's in the beginning of April or end of March somewhere.
Party. It's gonna be a party.
Oh, you know what? We did it before Jack Frost. Because remember we had our it's coming up in just a few weeks.
It's like the first week of March, I think. Because it was the week right before Jack Frost, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah, because we had a little bet and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, we always have bets. All right,
cool.
Party for 52, episode 52.
There you go.
Yep.
Moving on. Let's backpedal. Evan, backpedal for us.
So, had a pretty good week of training. I feel like that's always my backpedal now.
Well,
oh God, I'm like the world's least interesting person. At least at this table, comparatively to Lance. I get compared when it comes to who's more interesting, Lance or Evan, it's not even close. Like we're not even in the same stadium.
I have questions about your week.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just like throw down the numbers because I feel like those are kind of interesting to me. Not that I'm sure anybody else really cares, but I like to hold myself honest to those. Yeah. So last week I said I was going to train more than I did the previous week. I kind of lied because it was basically the same exact numbers as the previous week. Almost the same exact numbers. Swam about 20K. I can't say it was 20K because it was like 19,700 yards. Mm-hmm. I almost on Sunday decided to go to the pool and swim for no reason outside of just to get over 20K. And then I thought that's dumb, so I didn't do that. But
I was watching, though.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, I was thinking in my head, I was like, 19,700 is not 20K. But it's fine. So ran, I think, 63 miles and biked 11 hours. So
wow.
Another week of good bike run quality.
So because it's the only thing I really care about, the bike part.
Yeah, I know.
How many of those hours were spent outside?
None. Ugh. Not a single hour outside.
That's brutal, man.
I know. This week has been bad. Yeah. I mean, the weather is terrible here right now.
Well, I want to hear about your hard run, I think on Saturday. Did you?
Sunday,
yeah.
Okay. That was by far the most important work. I had 2 days that were really important workouts this week. One swim. So I had one swim this week. That was a 2K set. where I was hitting numbers I liked.
Wait, your swim with me in the prior week wasn't your most important?
It was the most important, but you just kicked my butt. So, it wasn't like
so you were like, all right, round 2.
It wasn't one that I can be like, that went well.
So your 2K swim went well?
Yep. And then I had a bike run workout on Wednesday, which was just chock full of intervals. And then, Sunday I ran with a friend of me and Matt's named Quinn, who is a bona fide, really good.
Yeah, legit runner.
Very legit runner. A guy who went, I believe, sub 225 in the marathon.
Yeah, it sounds
went like
about
224 in the marathon.
Yeah.
He's gone 110 dead flat in the half, and definitely had better fitness to go under 110. What was his 10K? Like 30 minutes?
30 or something.
Yeah.
I think it's probably 30-27, somewhere in that range.
Really good steeplechaser.
Yep.
Yeah, so well out of my running league at his peak. But
he's old like me.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's in his mid-30s now, and he is coming back into the running world hard and running really well right now. So we're going to race together at the Vancouver Lake half in a week or so, 2 weeks.
Yeah, because it's this. So we'll get back from our training camp, and it's the day after that. It's the Sunday after that.
Yeah.
And so you did a 10K or something? Or?
Yeah, so we did, the mile was, the workout was just under 13 miles total.
Okay. But
we did a 2-mile warm-up over to Vancouver Lake area on what mostly the course will be. We did a section of the course. It was cold. It was like 22 degrees, 23 degrees, which he ran collegiately in Wisconsin, and I'm from Ohio, so to us that was just fine. Like, actually, it was sunny too.
How were the roads though? Was it slippery and icy?
Surprisingly not.
Okay.
Because it was just sunny enough that it really dried out everything. So there was we ran into basically no ice the entire time.
So you felt like you could push.
Oh yeah. I mean, outside of, so we did a 10K at tempo. It was actually 6 miles at tempo. I think he was saying we would have been, if we had pushed through to the 10K, would have been mid 35s.
Okay.
For the 10K.
Yeah.
35 and change. And our pace was like right on 5:44, I think.
Did you guys start up a little bit mellow and work your way down?
Holy cow.
Did you?
Yeah. So this was where, I'll be completely honest on this podcast, going into this workout, like, I haven't trained with anybody quite that fast before.
Right.
Somebody who's been under 225 in the marathon are just not people who usually want to train with me. So, like, having this run going into it, I was like, I've really got to be like on my game. And I was coming in from a big training week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to be tired. I've got to like really be, mentally ready to hurt for this one. And I was very surprised with the first 5K. My legs felt fine. Yeah. Felt like nothing was, just felt smooth. He did force me to negative split it, which is very unlike me usually.
Yeah.
And now I realize that's why he's a good runner, is because good runners negative split things.
Well, when they can, right? Like, if you're running 800 on the track, you typically don't negative split that. I mean, in fact, a lot of the races that you run on the track, you don't negative split. But because he's strong and it's much more enjoyable to negative split a hard workout like that, he's pretty much always going to do that. And if he has a choice, even for that race, like that half marathon coming up, he would be perfect person for you to key off of. Stick with him, and and then he'll probably hammer the last half. I'd probably guess 5K.
And I'll definitely guess he's going to have legs for that last 5K, because just in that workout, like, I felt great. We turned around, we hit some headwind on the way back, which slowed us down a little bit, but not much. And we felt great pushing up to, like, I felt awesome till 5.5 miles. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that last 800, I was like, this is really starting to hurt all of a sudden.
Right.
And, stayed with him. But I think that's when he actually got stronger. Like, he really felt really good there towards the end. So that, for me, showed me what I need to work on, is definitely allowing, that negative split sort of workout to start. To really start to come around and maybe lengthen that workout a bit. So
I hope that you get to do more runs with him. I think that'd be perfect.
We're planning once or twice a weekend, definitely from now on. So
that's cool.
Yep.
Cool. Matt, backpedal for us.
Oh man, my week was horrible. So we've had, I guess Evan alluded to this, like, we've had a lot of snow, and I think up where Jake and I live, it's like pretty tricky. Yeah. Just a lot more like snow drifting and stuff like that. And so we got that Monday workout in pretty well, which was great. And then, the kids have been out of school and we've been under snow, and I have I just checked it because we were talking about hours, and while you're talking about the hours, I looked at mine. I got in, a little over 8 hours of work, which is fine. But coming from 15, that's a pretty sizable drop off in volume, and didn't swim as much as I had been swimming. Wasn't able to really get outside too much. For my long run this week, I ended up doing, I think, 9 miles instead of, a little bit more than that in the past. Skipped the track workout. Like it was just all in all like a bad week. And I'm not really like super upset about it because I feel like unscheduled rest weeks are great in some ways where you can kind of be like, weather isn't cooperating. Like this is a perfect time to take a down week. And then hopefully I can ramp back up a little bit this week and go into our training camp kind of ready to go. But I'm not upset about it, but it wasn't a particularly fantastic like week of working out.
Recovery weeks are important.
I think I've heard somebody talking about a recovery week thing or something like that last week. I heard it on a podcast somewhere. I don't know.
Yes, see previous podcasts.
That's right.
Nobody's ever happy taking a recovery week though. We always talk about like, oh God, can't wait for that recovery week, and then it comes and you're like, well, maybe I could do like an extra 2-3 hour ride there, just shore up the numbers and make sure this doesn't look too bad. But
yeah.
Just let it happen. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it happens. It's fine.
You were hitting some massive swim weeks there in a row.
Yeah.
You need that come down time.
Yep. It happens, bud. Hey, this is Jake. Just wanted to jump in real quick. You've obviously heard Lance sounding very echoey. We're really sorry about that. It was a little snafu while we were recording on YouTube and didn't pick it up until a little bit later on, but just want to let you know that in about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, give or take a second or two, he will come back in loud and clear. So just hang in there. Again, sorry about that. Technology sucks sometimes.
Game on! Game on!
Lance, backpedal for us.
Yeah. I did not have a recovery week.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at Lance's.
I'm looking at the numbers from last week. I put in 23 hours of work last week.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
That's hard work.
Now, like 15 of it was on the bike, and like 8 of it was hard hiking, I guess.
Oh. We'll call it running. Let's just call it running.
That's running, yeah.
Let's call it triathlon.
Yeah. but yeah, I was at the start of the week in Las Vegas, and then I did a gravel ride in Las Vegas, which was a lot of fun, but it ended up being in the snow, so I got turned around by snow there. And then from there, I headed towards the Grand Canyon. I went to the Grand Canyon. I thought I would do one of the hikes from the rim down to the river and back. And it was a full blizzard, whiteout conditions on the rim of the Grand Canyon. So I ended up hiking like 13 and a half miles or something that day, which was a nice little reprieve from being on the bike so much. But after that, it was a beautiful, fantastic hike. It was cool to see the Grand Canyon, covered in snow and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was cool. From there, I headed down to Sedona, Arizona, and spent 3 or 4 hours on a mountain bike one day, which was just fantastic. Great mountain biking around Sedona on the Red Rock and Slick Rock around there, although it was still very cold. And then from there, I headed down to Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm in Mesa. My sister actually lives here in Mesa, and so I'm hanging out at her house with her glorious pool in the backyard. I guess you can't really see it, but just been hanging out with her and her family, and my wife flew in late last night to spend a couple 3 days with me down here because I'm eventually on my way to training camp, which is a 5 or 6 hour drive from here. But and then here I've been road biking and mountain biking. I managed to catch a group ride on Saturday morning. There's dogs barking in the background. That would be my sister's dogs. But I managed to catch a group ride in the morning from Bicycle Ranch in Scottsdale, and I'd been kind of flogging myself fairly hard beforehand, and didn't think I'd do very well on this group ride. there was only about 40 or 50 people that showed up, and I've done this ride. I did this ride 3 years ago, and there were like 150 people that were there.
Jeez.
And it gets split up between A group, B group, and C group. And this time I was on the front of the group the whole day, so I was feeling pretty good. Even up the climbs, I didn't get dropped, Evan. So.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Crap! I'm scared. I'm sufficiently scared now.
It doesn't mean I have turned into a climber, because that is not the case for sure. But
at least a Rollier, right?
Yeah, I can hang a little bit longer. So I had some great longer rides and whatnot, and so it's just been good. Hey, Pepper, be quiet. Come here. This is my
Pepper
niece's dog. If you can you see Pepper if you're on the live stream, or if you look on the live stream?
Is the other dog's name Salt?
I don't know where.
Oh, that would be great.
Is that Piper's cousin Pepper?
Yeah, that's right. It's Piper's cousin Pepper. So yeah, I put some good miles in. I've done some other mountain biking around here, which is great. It's the weather's been. It's not super warm here either. It's been between 45 and 65 degrees, but 65 is definitely better than the 20 degrees it is back home. So
yeah, it was chilly.
My week's been decent. I can't complain.
Good. Where are you off to next?
I'm going back up to Flagstaff. My nephew is looking at a dental practice up there, so I'm actually going up to Flagstaff on Thursday to help him evaluate a practice that he's looking at. And then from Flagstaff, I'm just going to head to San Diego.
Training camp.
So I'm headed to training camp. Yeah.
Excellent.
That doesn't sound like a lot of cold weather for Lance.
No.
I don't feel like this is fair.
No.
The only time it was cold this year, Lance was not here.
That's right.
There you go. Well, at least we got some snow out of it.
That's true.
That part was fun. So
that
at least for me and
was
my
fun.
kids. But
on Saturday, the snow was kind of cool. It was.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. My backpedal real quick was our team ride on Zwift on Tuesday, which was another great workout. It was kind of fun to see Nate Scott, putting down a solid effort. He's coming back from a broken wrist, so it's nice to see him getting his fitness back after having a little bit of time off. But then again, Jesse Tonkinson in the break with him, and those two worked together to drop everybody on that last lap. So that was a pretty solid effort on both of their parts.
Tonk's coming along. That's really. I've been looking at him and Nate's train. They are both. Yeah. They're going to be fast this year.
Yeah. Tonk is putting out power numbers he hasn't seen before. So that's good.
What cat are they both going to be racing this year? Are they fours?
Nate's going to have to start as a 5.
Nate's going to be a.
I know.
Yeah,
at this point, I may just downgrade to a 4. Level. I may downgrade to a 4 this road season. Just race with them.
Yeah. Well, you can do whatever you want to do, because I think
it's gonna be a fun 4 or 5.
USAC last registered last time was a 3. But how many years has it been?
3.
3?
2 years. It was the year before I came out here. So yeah.
Talk to some of those people over at Obra.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Then a few other tough sessions. That's neither here nor there. But what kind of bummed me out is I was going to be putting in a long Saturday ride on the trainer, and I went to go do that ride, and I was gassed. And it was because I spent all freaking day shoveling. Well, it wasn't even shoveling, because that implies that you're using like your upper body, and I use it a little bit. I did some of my physical therapy. I adapted it to shoveling driveways. That's plural. I had to do mine twice, on Friday night and again on Saturday, because it gets really icy if I don't. Yeah. And then my mother-in-law needed some help, and so my wife and I ran over there, and we helped shovel her driveway as well. So after basically pushing around a snow shovel like a plow for, I'm guessing that I probably spent 2.5, 3 hours just plowing, if you will. Yeah. I was smoked. I was done. I could not bring myself to ride any more than what I did, which was just over an hour. Had like a low zone 2, high zone 1 power output. It was just terrible. So I was able to jump back on last night, and I knocked out a pretty solid program of some over-unders that hurt, but I got through an hour and a half. So it's kind of nice, because I think my body needed that in a weird way. You get your body moving in a different fashion. So that was kind of nice. And then
it's probably more valuable.
The strength training that I got to do for my upper body and my core was needed as well. So
yeah,
enough about that. The snow was cool. That was fun watching the kids play around, and yada yada yada. So
you only get one chance to do like a snow shovel workout a year too.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
Weight challenge update, Matt. Tell us you just won this thing. So
I haven't won.
God
what?
dang it.
This week has been bad.
Oh no!
It's not been a good week.
How far off?
No,
the win are you now?
I'm 2 pounds from winning. I mean,
Okay, so
I'm
he's still
literally
close.
just like I've been rock solid at 155.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Lance?
I'm still the same, right about 5 pounds down. You know, even though I'm doing all this training and eating carefully, it's like my body has found the spot it wants to be. So I'm having a difficult time going down.
Evan,
I did send I sent a picture to the group.
Oh yeah.
With me down 10 pounds, saying "boom, I won," but it was fake because
was that after the hike?
It was. No, it was not. It was after one of the rides I did. It was after like a 2.5 hour ride. So
that's fun.
I was just trying to screw with everybody.
Yeah.
How about you?
My morning weight Sunday was 150. I think I texted the group that I was at 150. I had, after my training on Sunday, I was at 148, which was 1 pound away, but that doesn't count, obviously.
Yeah.
That was a lot of sweating. So, yeah.
Still.
I don't know if I can go under 150. 150 just feels so
Ridiculous,
ridiculously light for me. That's 6 feet tall. I don't know. We'll see. If I keep on going down, there's I can give it a run. But if I end up ending this competition, that's sad because I did not even want to win this competition.
And I don't want to lose weight at training camp either. I want to be just taking in a lot of calories.
Oh yeah, for sure. I ate so much at training camp last year, but I still did come out the backside. I come down, I lost like 3 pounds over the 8 days that we were there, but I'm still stuck at -4, -3, -4. I've seen a little bit more, seen a little bit less, but stuck. So
at least we're all minus. That's a good.
Well, and I've noticed definitely like body fat percentage change, and I'm definitely gaining muscle, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
get there, people.
We'll keep plugging along.
Nobody else wants us to continue either. So.
All right, today's topic is quite timely. Gee, I wonder why.
That's strange.
We're going to talk about training camps. We're going to run through what the purpose of a training camp is, kind of what you should expect, or maybe even like how you want to plan your own. What you can do if you can't get away to a training camp, and do they work?
That's an interesting
work. So, is it just a cheap excuse to get out of town and go enjoy some sun for us Pacific Northwesterners?
Which means they work. Yes.
So I'm going to run around the table. I'm just going to let you guys start to, give your 2 cents on this topic. We'll start with you, Lance, because you're kind of starting with
your life is a training camp.
Yeah, I know. You're like a perpetual training camp guy. What are your thoughts?
You know, I've certainly been looking forward to this a lot, mostly because it's always better to ride with the group and to ride with people. It's just a lot more motivating. You can go further, you can go a little bit harder, so you get more of a training effect by doing that. And that's the beauty of having a training camp. So, most of the riding that I've been doing and most of the riding we've all been doing is kind of solo or on our own. And to have an opportunity to get together, where I think we've got 18 people going or something like that, and to be able to work together, the whole point is to kickstart or continue our training for the rest of the spring racing season, and to kind of lay down a baseline of fitness so that we can stay on that. Pepper. Sorry.
Now that's an interesting term that you use, Lance, and I think it's something that, like, I'll play devil's advocate on a little bit, but I actually kind of deep down agree with you. Is there? Well, I mean, base fitness is like this bad word now that everybody loves to talk down. They love to say like, oh, high intensity, quality. Base fitness, Lance, when you say that, I think a lot of people think LSD, long slow distance. Now, when you're saying base fitness, because you already mentioned saying that, you ride harder, you're basically riding longer and harder. So what would you define like base fitness workout as? Like a week of base fitness, what would that be for you?
Well, it would mostly be, longer, slower stuff with a few efforts interspersed in there. I don't think it's a week where you do intervals. It's a week where we try to put in 3 or 4 or 500 miles or 600 miles in the week, to try to kind of just increase your endurance so that you can go back and individually work on those interval things. At least that's the idea. And I don't exactly know what we have planned for the whole week, whether we're going to have some harder interval efforts, but I'm not sure.
I think just naturally there will be, right? I mean, if you guys are going up a climb and people start to break away, you're not just going to be like, I'm going to ride at zone low 2 because that's what I said I was going to do.
Yeah, there's always going to be people pushing the envelope. And that happens just about with any team. When they go do a team ride, there's always somebody that's going to push at some point in time. So you're always going to find yourself chasing to a certain degree. I mean, you can, if you want, sit back and just, wait for them to regroup and you'll catch up to them eventually. But we're all competitive people, and it's just in the spirit of being in that group and seeing people kind of take off. You kind of get caught up in that, and you're going to go be competitive as well. So you're going to find some natural intervals in there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for this time of year. You need to sharpen up.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So, how about you, Matt?
Well, we talk about like the purpose of this and are they great for you or what? And I think the one thing that I will say is, I mean, obviously I'm a proponent, like I'm going on the training camp. I think they will be extremely beneficial to me, as long as I can survive. But there's definitely something to be said that if you have a good pattern at home, and I'm looking across the table at Evan here, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but if you have a good pattern at home where you can put in big loads, fantastic training, like nice, solid, consistent work with good people, you might not need a training camp. So again, maybe that is a bit of devil's advocacy here, but Evan has a pattern that is very functional. I feel like when I was running a lot, I didn't necessarily need to travel away to go get a certain particular like block of training in. When I was running very hard, I did very well, like just at home. Like I could put in my 100-mile weeks. Like I could really even significantly more than that. Like some big spiked up weeks, just kind of sticking to my routine and doing my like day-to-day activities. So I think there's a place for training camps, especially, because we're in the Pacific Northwest and we have the potential to go to, Southern California and get out of the dreary, snowy, rainy, whatever we have. That's going to be able to allow us to do some more biking miles for sure. So in that regard, training camp's fantastic. But if you guys are listening to this and, you don't necessarily have to escape the weather and you have your routine that's working well for you, don't get, discouraged that you need a training camp. Like you may be just fine where you are.
Yeah. This is where I think like the fear of missing out stuff is big, because I think it is important to realize at the same time, I'm actually a proponent for the training camps. And I say that because, but you've got to be smart with the training camp. So let's speak from the triathlon point of view.
Right.
If you're a triathlete, it's not a bad idea to actually do a training camp with cyclists. Because if you really look at the 3 sports, what's the sport that you can toss the most volume at without really risking an injury? It's definitely cycling.
Yeah.
I mean, if like anybody listening to this who's a triathlete, if you're running 32, 33 miles a week, don't think that you can sprinkle in a 75-mile week there out of nowhere.
Right.
That is not how running works, and it's definitely not how swimming works.
Yeah.
So, but you can if you're somebody who typically rides 6 or 7 hours a week. It is possible for you to go between that 15 to 20 hour week now.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that you could just like double your volume.
And then, like Lance said, going with a group is great because let's say you want to hang in for a little bit.
Right.
You can hang in. If you want to put in some efforts, you can put in some efforts. But yeah, I think the difference with the triathlon world, and there's a lot of triathletes that do training camps.
Yes.
I mean, there are. So I'll talk about one. I would say in the amateur world, that's a pretty famous training camp is Everyman Jack's camp.
Yep.
They go to Vegas each year, I believe, and do it. Gonna be honest, I mean, Everyman Jack's great. They're good guys on that team and everything. I think that's more of a marketing training camp more than anything.
Well, it's a chance for the team to get together
and actually see each other.
That team is so dispersed. It's a chance for them to get together, hang out, distribute stuff.
Yes.
I mean, they have they kind of need to do some sort of meetup.
And they do. And that's the difference between, I think, triathlon teams and cycling teams.
Right.
Cycling teams are all very much based in an area.
Yeah.
So like dialed cycling knows each other.
Yeah.
Everybody knows each other in dialed cycling. So it's awesome that group gets to say, hey, let's get out of the rainy weather and go sunny and go ride 500 miles in a week. That's awesome. But triathlon teams, for whatever reason, seem to be more like online based these days. So you got like team members all over, all over. So a training camp is like this come together and meet each other thing. So I think in the triathlon world, there's the social aspect, but I'm not sure if there's as much of a training benefit to a triathlon camp if you do have a good, consistent sort of schedule and good people around you can train with. You don't need to go to these, triathlon training camps. Cycling world, I will definitely agree. I think there's a lot of benefit from a training camp for cycling. Yeah. Especially if you live in a bad weather region.
I think you're right. I think maybe it just has to do with sport specific.
Yeah.
A
running training camp?
You can't. You can go to running camps and stuff like that. They have them.
But if you've got your group that
don't want to
trains at your speed.
And you don't want to spike your mileage for running.
Yeah.
You want to keep it consistent.
Me being a guy who now runs in the 60s and 70s,
right.
I guess if I was to not swim and bike in a week and go and try and run 110 miles, I would risk injury with that. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. There's a good chance I would come out of that injured.
Yeah.
And that's even, I think I could go into the 80s okay, but I don't think I could go into the hundreds and not be like toast coming out of that.
It's hard to say, right? It's just it's a toss up.
Oh, yeah.
You might end up injured, you might not.
So when you're out doing your training for triathlon, and then is it commonplace for a triathlon team to go do something abroad or away from?
Yeah, there's I know the team I have been affiliated with before, AJ Baco coaching. They had a Florida camp that they would do.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they're commonplace with these bigger teams.
Yeah. So I can definitely see the benefits there. You guys are going to push each other, but when you actually get into the race itself, there's not a lot of like camaraderie kind of stuff. It's like every man's out there, man and woman's out there to win. Yeah. Now, on a cycling team, it's a little bit different because you want to have that gelling. You want to have that camaraderie and that teamwork. And that's a great place to go work on that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You can talk about a million different things with respect to tactics and pace lining and blocking and all this fun stuff that goes into the dynamics of road racing. Do you guys work? You probably don't work on any of that, do you?
You don't need to. It's super individual.
No, and this is where I definitely I have a hard time playing devil's advocate against a cycling training camp because I just think they're so beneficial. I really think they are incredibly beneficial if you're a cyclist. If you're a triathlete, if you're really weak on the bike, go to a cycling training camp. Because if you want to be like, I want to be a stronger cyclist, go hang with cyclists.
And I think a lot of the pro triathletes that I've seen, they will go to a training camp and they're doing a triathlon training camp. It's not really like they're not hanging out with a bunch of cyclists. But when they do those training camps, they do increase their cycling volume.
That's the biggest thing.
I don't think they increase their swimming and running as much.
Not really. And that's where, Matt, you kind of nailed on the head before is like, I'm kind of in this place right now where my training's so consistent. I don't think I need to really throw a big change into it. But I will say I do get a little bit jealous of some of these triathletes that I know I'm not that much slower than at the pro level that are, this is like my inner, like very jealous side coming out right now, which is bad. I look at these guys and they're going to like South Africa. Yeah. It's sunny. They're going to Arizona. I'm like, who's paying for you to go there right now?
Right.
You're like 3 minutes faster than I am. You're not that fast. Like what? Like who's paying for you to go to these trips? Well, I'm sitting here still working a 50-hour week and like trying to shove in this training. It's like, good God. These guys over exaggerate how hard their lives are.
Okay, so my theory is that potentially coaching is a large part of their job. Yeah. Which means they can do that from anywhere, and they're going and they're staying somewhere affordable. Yeah. And if that's your setup, that you can go anywhere.
Then they're doing it better than me.
You're not doing it better than you. It's just different.
It's just different. We'll go with that.
You're building a pretty solid career for yourself, though. And I don't know. Is that a solid career? That's being a triathlon coach.
Nah. To me, what I'm doing right now as a physical therapist is a lot more important to me than racing for sure. So, but yeah,
I find myself getting really pumped up to get out of town and to just go do something different. And it's with any vacation. And if it's a vacation solely built around riding my bike, my God, I get so amped up for that. And I really get excited about the notion of just being able to go down and do that. And then to add to that, when you're doing it with a team and a bunch of friends and you know that it's going to be a long, hard week and you got to keep up with everybody, I find myself building my training program around the training camp, getting ready for training camp. So I actually start my training with anticipation that I'm going to this training camp a lot sooner, and I am a lot more diligent. I'm a lot more consistent with that, and I think that ends up paying big dividends because you go to this camp and when you get out the backside, you're pretty beat up and you did a lot of good stuff for yourself. You're going to be so much more prepared and ready for the start of the season.
You hit some of your best fitness, you said, coming out of this training camp last year, right?
I did. At the Jack Frost time trial, I was pretty strong. And then as the races started to pile up, I just got stronger and stronger, which was a good thing. Mm-hmm. So
I would definitely say that this is where I know you would point out, like, do they work? I think the question is, at least in the cycling world, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I had kind of made a little note here to check any research. I don't think there's any great longitudinal studies looking at it, but I'll tell you what, most people you talk to, if you hit a quality 24-hour bike week, you're going to come out of the back end of that with some fitness. Yeah. Like with some really good fitness.
For sure. So it was one of those things, though, that I feel like I had such great benefit, such a great time, and the fact that I was like really like dreading what we were going to go do, and the fact that I was able to like build up to that, I think that's really tough to replicate. And you can't go into training camp thinking, oh, this is what's going to get me in shape for the season, because you're going to find yourself riding all by yourself.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have a bunch of very disappointed teammates that are going to be sitting around waiting for you and saying, this is going to change tomorrow. We're not going to do this again. Here's an alternate route for you. So,
and that's a good way to put it. Lance, I know, has gotten really consistent with his training here, even with the amount of traveling he's been doing. Jake's been consistent with his training. Matt has gotten more serious on the bike in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. You think about it, if you do it in the February time, it's a great little primer to get you into, because I think some people are on this, like, I hear too many people doing this. They're like on these 8-week plans before the start of the season. It's like you can't take 2 months off, come back and be like, in 8 weeks I'm going to be in great shape. It's like it doesn't,
I've said this before. We've talked about like coming back from injury or coming back from being off and whatnot. It's almost like it takes twice as long to get back as what you took off. So if you're going to take that 2 months off, it's going to take you 3 to 4 months to get back to where you were at fitness wise.
And that's just getting back to baseline.
Yeah. So it's always nice not to take that time off. And if you need to like back away a little bit, that's fine. If you need to cut back on intensity for a bit, that's fine. You need that active recovery, that time off. Even. Exactly. Yeah. Just keeping yourself fit. But if you completely just take it off and, next thing you know, you're just
going to a training camp.
Going to a training camp, and all you've been doing is just hanging out, not doing much of anything, and maybe having some beer and eating some good food and whatnot. Don't expect to show up.
This is where I will play devil's advocate against a cycling camp. If you just did that, don't go to the dialed cycling camp and expect to not get spit out the back of that group.
There are.
Well, I tell you, there's just knowing that the quality of people that are going to be on this camp has been very motivating for the last 3 months, for the last 2 months, knowing the people that were going to come, because I think all of us, have been training with the idea of training camp. We're training for training camp so that we show up and can at least try to hang with the group, because I think I'm actually really quite fit right now, and there are guys on the team that I cannot hang with, and I know that. So being able to be pushed by that is exciting.
Who's going to be the first 5 up each climb, do you guys think?
Jordan
Rickards,
Jordan,
John Hatfield
is strong right now.
Is Chris going?
Chris Hanel's another one. Yeah,
Chris Hanel,
Lance Hepler,
yeah. Jake.
I don't know. Maybe last year.
I don't know.
What about Nate and Tonk? Are they going to be?
They won't be there.
They're not going to be there.
No.
Would they be in that top 5? Do you think?
Nate for sure. Tonk would be up there too. He'd probably be hanging right with everybody else. So
is Paul first going by chance?
Yeah, he's another one that'll be up there.
I bet Paul. Here's my underdog pit. I bet Paul sticks right with Jordan.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think he's developing fast.
He's developing really fast. Maybe early in the rides, and maybe early in the week.
Point.
But as the week goes on, nobody's got the same fitness for climbing.
I'll say the first 2 days he sticks with Jordan, and then Jordan will be the first up.
But you know what? You're probably not too far off. I mean, he's going to be right there. He's going to be a kid that's just going to tear it up. And this is going to be something he's never done before. And he's, 20 years old? And he's just figuring out what kind of fitness he truly has, and he's never done this before. So he's going to come out of the backside of this crazy strong. So
he's in for a shocking season. I'm going to say they're sure going to be very, very, very fast.
Yeah, he wants to be out there doing some triathlons with you guys too. So
he comes from a running background. Yeah. We just got to help him figure out swimming, and then he's there. Oh, we can steal him so hard. Actually, he needs to do both. He needs to be that kid that we talk about who bike races and races triathlons.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I think his love, though, is cyclocross, if I'm not mistaken, and then mountain bike probably second, and then triathlon.
He's a great bike handler for a young kid, too. So great bike handler.
Just the excitement of getting off the trainer. I mean, how happy are you going to be to get off the trainer and the roller mat, just to go outside and have the sun beat down on you and not be wearing multiple layers?
I mean, anytime I get outside, it's just like the first hour of biking goes by so fast. You're like, wait, we've been biking for an hour?
Yeah.
And if I'm on a trainer and I get to the hour marker, I'm like looking for a reason to quit.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Last year we went to Palm Springs and we all got down there and we all built our bikes. It was just so much fun. And then everybody was kind of like jonesing, chomping at the bit because it was getting a little bit later in the day, and like, all right, we'll come back and we'll eat later. As a matter of fact, we're going to go out to dinner instead of making dinner tonight. Let's just go for a quick bike ride, just giving yourself that excuse to go shake it down. We got outside, and there's just that, like, when you're riding through the wind, and like the wind, you don't feel temperature. Yeah. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. It was like that perfect time of night, and it was the sunset was starting to come in a little bit, so it was really beautiful down there in the desert valley, and you feel that warmth kind of touching your shoulders, like from the sun, and it just puts this perpetual smile on your face. I'm like, oh, this whole week is going to be glorious.
I am crying inside over here right now.
And so now we're going to go back down. We're going to be in North San Diego County. We're staying in a sleepy little town, avocado town, if you will, called Fallbrook, California. And what's funny is Sean Martin and John Hatfield are the ones who came up with the destination. They did all of the planning, and they came back to me like, all right, this is what we came up with. Here's some rides that we can do, and yada, yada, yada. And they had no idea that I was born and raised in Fallbrook, California. I lived there for the first 19 years of my life. No,
that's too funny.
The house that we rented, I think it sleeps something like, it's 20 plus people, if I'm not mistaken. So we're all going to fit in this one house, which is going to be pretty cool. It's 8 miles away from the house that I lived in for the better part of my life.
Now that area has really good mountain biking, right? Didn't you say that this area has very good mountain biking?
It has some okay mountain biking. Okay. I did most of my mountain biking in Orange County, which is probably 60, 70 miles north of Fallbrook, where I grew up. I didn't really I rode my mountain bike a lot when I was a kid, but I left there when I was 19 and went off to college. I did 1 year down there at the JC and then transferred up and yada, yada, yada. But anyhow, I did a lot of my mountain bike riding on the road. And I was just that one kid that's like, I just go out, would ride my bike all over the place. And I'd have a friend or two that sometimes would come with me, but I just like riding my bike. And I never really found any of the good mountain biking trails. And I just don't think that mountain biking was that big yet. Like the kind of trails that you would ride down there was more geared towards like motocross and like ATVs and things like that. Okay, so yeah. I'm sure there were people out there riding their mountain bikes, but I wasn't one of them per se. It was more of the road stuff. So,
okay.
Not that anybody cares about that. Sorry for rambling on.
He was going down memory road right there.
Yeah. So we know that they work. We know that they're beneficial. We know that they're good for you. What would be something if you're like, all that sounds great, I just can't get out of town? What kind of a program will we tell people to set up? Like there's going to be, close to 20 people going down there, and we've got over 100 other people on the team who can't. What can we tell those people? What can you do that's going to be kind of close to what we're doing down in San Diego to kind of push yourself to try and get that same training effect? I mean, they might have some good days to ride outside, but still here in the Pacific Northwest, we're dealing with a bunch of snow and ice out on the roads. And granted, it's starting to rain a little bit, but there's some more snow in the forecast. It's
still a lot of ice on the roads.
I mean, right now, if you look outside, you've got still several inches of snow, and it's raining, and it's about 36 or 37 degrees.
Yeah, that's perfect for a 5-hour ride.
Yeah. How can we get these people excited to go out and do something that's going to be as beneficial as being at a training camp, or is it just they're screwed? Do you guys have 2 cents on that?
So I won't say that they're screwed, but here's what I'm doing in this meantime. So I'll speak from the person not going to this training camp.
There you go.
So I'll speak from the triathlon point of view, but this very much just translates directly to the cycling view too. Training camp is a massive load of training in, let's say, 7 to 10 days. Let's say it's that 7 to 10 day period. If you're working during that time period, you cannot shove the same amount of training into it. Do not try and do that, because that means you're cutting sleep. You're probably not going to be cooking for yourself then, because you will be training instead of doing all those things. And your social life will definitely suffer, whether that means you have kids or anything, fill in blank. So what I've done is really the last 8 weeks has been a big build of fitness. But for my next 4 to 5 weeks, I'm taking one down week, and then not this next week, the week after that, I'm going to take one small down week. And then it's basically going to be shoving, instead of 7 to 10 days you're putting in that fitness, it's going to be a 3-week block. Mm-hmm. So if you're cycling in this region, you still have time to get in this big 3-week block before we hit the road season. You still actually, let me think, if you guys get back from training camp, how many weeks until Jack Frost? 3, right?
Just about that, yeah. We get back on, the 25th, 6th? Something like that.
And then
Jack Frost is the 10th of March. So, yeah, it's about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so we'll say 3 weeks here. Because even after Jack Frost, you still, that's when the road season starts. You don't need to be hitting your A fitness at Jack Frost, but definitely be in shape then. So for me, I know I'm building, basically adding a little bit of intensity and a little bit of mileage each week to each sport that I'm doing. So that means, instead of me spiking everything by 50%, you're spiking everything by 10 to 15% each week. And that's a more manageable load for your body to take over 3 weeks with work, with life staying the same way, instead of a 50 to 100% increase in 7 to 10 days when you get to kind of live like a professional cyclist. When, you get to ride, the thing that Jake never does, chill after a ride, and then actually get to reap the benefits of that training.
And that's definitely, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, when you're at the training camp, you wake up in the morning, you make yourself a nice big breakfast. You go out and you ride for hours, anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 hours, depending, maybe even longer, depending on the ride that you have scheduled for that day. You come home, you eat again, you stretch, you take a nap, you lounge, and you just let your body completely recover so that you can go out and do it again the next day. And it's really nice. And that's not something I could do at home.
And it's low stress too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, imagine. We'll just talk to Jake on this one, but I know everybody fits into this. I mean, the amount of responsibilities you have in a day, that is added cortisol and stress, which slows down recovery process every single day.
Which is how I wonder how you get through life. 50-hour work week, managing a social life, and training 25 hours on top of that.
I just pretend that I'm not stressed the entire time, so it works that way. But that's the great thing about these training camps. I think that's the added benefit we're not talking about, is how low stress the lifestyle is there.
Yeah.
And that's where, Lance, it's like you said, I mean, when you're around friends who all love bikes, is there any less stressful situation? No, that's awesome.
No.
I mean, this is, it's funny to me that sometimes these professional endurance athletes you hear, some of them are incredible, and I love most of these professional athletes, but it's funny, they seem to, some of them act like this is very stressful life, and you almost want to shake them and be like, live 10 years in a real person's life, and you'll realize, holy heck, this life is awesome. You get to ride your bike 5 hours a day. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have some competitions when we get down there, too, that'll make it a little bit more fun. Daily, it'll be who took the most KOMs on Strava from the locals and who was the strongest rider of the day. And we're going to, do some sprint competitions as well.
Most spirited rider.
Yeah. And so we're going to have some socks that correlate to that for the people that are winning those competitions, cool. Which is going to be kind of fun. So you get to wear your kit, but then if you're wearing that particular set of socks because you kicked butt, then, that's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah. Anything else you guys want to add to this?
Matt, would there ever be in the future a chance we could ever, as the triathlon team grows, you think ever organize a dial triathlon team?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. So I think we should.
I think it'd be worthwhile doing at some point. I think it really would.
I think we could put together a really cool group of people to do something. Yeah.
Yep. The team just under the influence of Dialed Cycling too. The Dialed Triathlon team has been growing really fast lately, really fast.
And then for some people, they could do the cycling camp and then the triathlon camp, right? Because we could do the triathlon camp could actually be significantly later, like even March or April.
It could be March or April, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go with you guys to that.
Yeah.
I'll go to all the biking. While you're out running, I'll be walking to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then, then while you guys are out swimming, I'll be sitting in the hot tub.
You'll be having a coffee at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it.
That would be fantastic.
We could do some funny challenges with that. The biggest volume week I ever did, I did my own little mini training camp back in Ohio. This was not, I didn't travel for anything, but I put 44 hours in a week.
I bet, yeah.
I bet we could touch those numbers if we did that.
Yeah. That's
44 hours into 1 week.
Yeah.
I did a triathlon training camp about 10 years ago in Joshua Tree National Park, actually.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Where we put in like 50 hours in a week. And
what?
It actually prepped me for an Ironman race that I was doing fantastically because we had somebody cooking all our meals. We had massages like 3 times that week.
Right.
So it was just wake up, eat, swim, take a nap, ride, 60 miles, take another nap, eat dinner, and then go for an evening run. Or it was something like that. And surprisingly did not beat me up as much as I thought it would, because all we did was train, eat, and recover, and recovery is key with stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing what your body can accomplish. I remember we've talked about this before, and I've said it before on the podcast and to a lot of people who listen to this. Last year when we went into that camp, we were looking at the numbers, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm looking at this like in a week. Like the biggest week I've ever had was like 340 miles or something like that. It's when I did the STP and some rides that are booking that particular event. And that's Seattle to Portland. We went up there, and in 1 week it was 525 miles, 75,000 feet of climbing. And we rode, I want to say for that week, it was in the 20s, maybe 23, 24, 25 hours. I can't remember. I got to go back and double check. But this was all pre-planned. And I went into this going, all right, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll give it the old college try. Gave it the old college try, came out the backside. I'm like, wow, you did that. And it's one of those things, too. Once you accomplish something, like you probably remember the first time you ever rode 50 miles, 100 miles, or 200 miles, or whatever. Each time you get past one of those little thresholds, you're like, oh, I can do that. So for me, doing it last year, I'm like, all right, I can do more than that. I can easily go down, and because this year's going to be more climbing. It probably won't be as many miles, but it'll be more taxing because there's more climbing. I'm like,
yep.
I did it last year. I know I can do this again. So I'm not terribly worried about it, even knowing that I've had my challenges over the last 8 months with getting hit by the car and getting decimated. But I'm going to give it, again, the old college try, and I'm hoping that I come out the backside even stronger. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I think we're all on the same page. Training camps are good.
They're very good.
Yeah. I'd love for if anybody has any dissenting opinions of that, thinks that they're not good. I mean, I just don't see any way that training harder and longer for a short period of time with great recovery can be bad for you. I just don't see how it could be.
One thing that I can suggest, though, for the folks who are not able to go, they have to stay home. For somebody like you, there is a lot to be said when you talk about the camaraderie and the bonding that happens when you go off and you're living in a house with teammates and getting to know them better. Try and connect with others locally that are on your team to do stuff. Go try and get some people to go do a big swim something or other, or go do a big run or a bike or something like that for you in the triathlon world. And for the cyclists, set up some meetups on Zwift and try and do something that's a little atypical. If you normally ride 30 miles, just like, all right, on a Tuesday night, we're going to ride 50 miles instead. Try and kind of push that envelope a little bit more so you get a little bit of that training effect while being connected with your teammates so that you can build that, have that camaraderie. Absolutely. Go out to dinner with some friends that are on the team and get to know them a little bit more, because there's something to be said about that, especially when you're on a team, when everybody's gelled and they're on the same page. It means a lot to a lot of folks. So just my 2 cents.
Yep.
All right. We are going to move on, and we're going to do the hot seat. And it's not going to be all of us. It's just going to be Matt and Evan. They're going to hit us with some hot seat questions today.
Seat. Yeah.
So you guys want to Rochambeau to see who goes first today?
I'm going first, because if Matt steals mine, I'm going to be mad.
Oh,
wait,
okay.
I already said mine earlier.
Okay,
good.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, hit us, Evan.
So I'm going to go, this is an over-under on the difference in miles between Lance and Matt. Okay.
Assuming we're
training camp?
Assuming we're healthy and all that stuff.
So first let's get an idea. How many days will you guys be riding?
All of them.
7, if I'm not mistaken.
7 days.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so it will be a week. Okay, so a full week. What will be the difference over under between Matt and Lance miles?
So I looked at some of the schedule stuff, and my plan is to be conservative. Still bike a lot. I mean, I think I'll bike significant more than I biked in the previous year.
Yeah. And just so people know too, we've got all 7 days are set up.
Okay.
There's an A route and a B route. And
Right.
The A route will be the long route for the day, and the B route will be the shorter route for the day. So if you're beat up or your fitness just isn't quite there, or something seems a little too daunting for you, you can jump on the B route, which will be significantly less.
Yeah.
So
it looked significantly left. Like, I think the first day, I don't even remember, was it like 109 miles for a group and then 48 miles for the B group or something like that? And I was like, ooh, 48, I can definitely do that. 109 is like, I know if I push myself too hard to start with, that would bode very poorly for the rest of my week. And I'd rather have a good week if possible. So
don't want to miss out on that 109 miler though. That's some good.
So-
That's some good stuff right there.
So if you do all the A routes, what does the mileage get to?
Did you happen to add that up, Matt?
No.
I don't. I think we'll just say it's roughly
Do you have a ballpark?
70 miles per day if you average it all out, and then you multiply that by 7, so you get 490 miles.
So let's just round, say 500. So 500 if you do everything, basically close.
Yeah,
close to 500.
That could be a slight. You know what? No, I'm going to say it's going to be less than that, because there's going to be an optional day in there that's going to be not an optional day. It'll be like a recovery day, so we'll be just out doing an active recovery ride.
Okay.
I'm going to go out and say that
450 maybe.
425 might be the total.
425.
And then if you did all of the B routes, you're probably looking at like 250.
250.
So I'm guesstimating, and we can
share
these numbers up.
So in the 400s and then in the mid 200s.
Correct.
The B routes.
Yeah, it's about half.
So let's put the over under at 150. The difference. I think 150 is a good over under.
Yeah, that's about right. I'll take that.
Okay.
yeah, sounds about right. I think that sounds reasonable. I think Lance will be itching to do as much as possible. If I know Lance.
My plan is to do everything.
Yeah.
All.
Yeah.
My plan is to do all of it.
Will you do more,
every
Lance? Will you do more?
500
I don't know. I mean, maybe the 6th and 7th day if I'm still feeling pretty good, because even though I have been riding a lot, I could get injured too. I could overdo it as well, and so
when was your last recovery week? Was that the scuba trip?
On the boat.
Scuba trip.
Yeah, the scuba trip.
And that's been how many weeks now? 4, I think.
It's been 3 weeks ago or something like that.
So you're still kind of and we've got a week to go. So you're going to be
right
at the end of that block, and you're either going to feel fantastic or you're going to start to fade a little bit. So maybe that plays to your advantage, Matt.
No,
it worries me a little bit, because like this week, I haven't even felt the pedals this week. Like my legs just feel great this week, which means who knows what's going to happen next week.
Yeah.
But
so what are we going to put the over under, like 100 miles more?
150 I think is a good number there.
150. I think Lance will go over that more than
over the difference.
I think so. I mean, I don't think Lance will do an extreme amount, and I still think I'll do fine. I just don't think that, I don't know.
I'm gonna say under.
Under. Okay.
I'm gonna say a lot under too, because two things are gonna happen. You're gonna get down there, and it's gonna feel fantastic, and you get to go through the motions, kind of like we just talked about. You can recover, and you don't necessarily get that same thing when you've got household that you're helping manage. You've got work related responsibilities. You got to go do podcasting stuff. I mean, so I think it's gonna be under, and I think that you're gonna feel a hell of a lot better than you're giving yourself credit for. You might feel a little taxed the first day or two, but all of a sudden things are gonna change, and you're gonna be like, I got this. Yeah. It's not as hard as I thought it was gonna be, and I'm able to accomplish more.
Matt's legs are going to come around faster than he thinks too, because he has a lot of fitness and a lot of experience in those legs as well. So I think he's going to do more. Yeah, but
this is
I'm like 15 years older than you.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Lance. I think Matt very much discredits the amount of aerobic work he's put in his life, and I think as soon as you're recovering, I think if you do that B route the first, second day, you're going to by that second, third, fourth day be doing the A routes and be completely fine with that.
Yeah,
right.
I gotta sneak in some swimming and running.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this.
I don't have to do a lot, but I just have to do a little bit. Like it can almost be like as part of my recovery, but I have to do some of it. In the running, like
I think
after
that'll
biking
just
a long ways.
Well,
the running after the
running
biking
may not,
beats me up. The swimming will be fine.
The swimming will help you recover. Honestly,
the swimming will help me recover, especially the way that I'll set it up, where it'll just be like go swim 2,000 easy. Yeah. But yeah, it's the running afterwards.
When you come back from this, we can plan a triathlon training camp, and we'll talk about the numbers for that, which will not be 500 miles of riding, but
that could be awesome.
All right. Any other input on that over under?
I'm saying it's going to be under. I think it's going to be closer to a 70 to 80 mile difference.
70 to 80 mile
difference.
And I think
all three of us, the other ones, said under, and you said
I'm
over.
The only one that says over. So we'll see. I can sabotage this easily.
And here's one more thing too. We did our Zwift ride on Tuesday night. And we did this. I think it's a 6.5 mile loop, if I'm not mistaken, called Hilly Route. So we did 6 laps of that thing, and the first lap is more of a warm up lap, and then laps 2 through 5 are at a steady state pace, prescribed watts per kilogram, or plus or minus a couple tenths, and then the last lap is a hot lap. And pretty much that's just a full on race, just to kind of open it up your legs and chase each other down. Matt was super strong on that last lap. Like, I was having a hard time shaking him. He was just right there. He's just like tucked in right behind me, and he was holding some pretty significant watts per kilogram. And he was like, it's 6 miles, 6.5 miles, and he was holding like that 4.5 to 5 watts per kilogram for just about that entire lap. So he was looking pretty stinking strong,
I was going all out, which you can't do when you've got 6 more days of hard riding.
But that's not going to be all of our rides. But it's just showing me that your fitness and your riding is strong.
It does show that it's there. Yeah.
I was happy with that, actually. And a lot of it was another one of those snow days where it was like I didn't get out to swim, and then I didn't get out to run, and you're all pent up and pissed off.
Yep.
You take it out.
Unleash that on the
take it out on the Zwift.
This is why my bike training has been struggling with the intervals, as there's been not a lot of pent up energy yet.
Yeah.
So Matt's gonna do just fine.
I agree.
Just fine.
Yeah.
I'm quite nervous. Like, you guys are all excited and happy and elated, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like, I am quite scared of this.
This is where we get to test the theory of swim fitness translates to bike fitness. This is like our little scientific study for that.
All right,
Matt, hit us with a hot seat question.
I have 2 hot seat questions, and you guys can choose between your poisons. One is extremely hot seat.
Ooh,
the other one is not so much. You guys,
not so spicy.
You want to go spicy?
Spicy, yeah.
All right.
Let's go. How about let's do both of them?
Tie 9.
Okay,
yes.
We got time.
All right. First one, Valentine's Day.
Oh God,
that's the spicy one. What do you guys got planned? Are you guys gonna be able to sneak away from the girlfriend to do some training? What do you guys got scheduled?
Is that coming up sometime soon?
I don't. You got to check.
When is the day? I don't even know what the day is.
For those, okay.
It's Thursday.
Does that answer your question?
Strike 2. Jake's checking his calendar. Evan doesn't know what day it is, and I assume
Thursday.
Thursday. Lance knows.
Of course, Lance knows. This isn't. Lance, you're not allowed to answer this question.
It's Lance Romance Day, right?
Lance Romance knows. I flew my wife to Phoenix to spend Valentine's Day with me.
Did Lance just win?
I think he won Valentine's Day. Yep.
Wait a minute. Lance, didn't you say on Thursday is when you're going up to help your nephew?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay. Hold on.
But wait.
You go.
We're having Valentine's Eve. We're spending together. So that makes up.
Okay. Fair.
Are you asking what we have planned?
I'm just throwing it out there because
I
know that our podcast will come out on Wednesday. We think Valentine's Day is on Thursday.
Unconfirmed Valentine's Day is on Thursday.
The consensus is a little bit confused at this point, but
I have nothing special planned. Yeah. We don't really ever do anything for that holiday. Yeah. I'll probably end up making a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And then the kids will get some stuff.
That's cool.
And
then you'll get on the trainer?
All right. So I'll get on the trainer, but I'll probably try and get it done early in the morning so that I am not sitting on the trainer at nighttime after dinner.
Gotcha.
That wouldn't go too well.
Evan, do you think you'll do some sort of?
I got a 14-mile run on a treadmill for a date.
14 miles on a treadmill.
That's what I do on Thursdays.
That's by far longer than I've ever gone on a treadmill.
Okay, so is this your first or second Valentine's Day with the current girlfriend?
This will be me and Cassie's first Valentine's Day, and neither of us really care about Valentine's Day.
She says but
we spend a lot.
You should do something small at least. We are
going to be spending a lot of time together over the weekend. We will. We're really Thursday. Does Thursday really matter that much if it's Thursday or Friday when you have a nice dinner together and make it? Oh God, I'm looking at like all these successfully married guys around me right now.
Here's the thing: it's been a long time since I've been like on that first Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
so I don't know what the
let me put it this way: I've been in relationships where I knew that Valentine's Day was way more important than they were playing it off to be. I could usually tell. And to me, that's not an attractive quality because I really just don't care about Valentine's Day that much.
But
it seems very disingenuous.
Let me just give you some. Let me give you some cheap advice.
Yeah, I need some.
If you buy her a cup of coffee with
I've got
heart on or something like
I got her something. Don't
small.
I did.
It doesn't. I'm just saying, like she likes coffee.
Yeah,
from Detaza tea or wherever.
Ooh, Detaza's not a bad idea actually.
I'm just saying, like something small like that goes a long way on Valentine's Day.
No, I got something small.
No. Evan.
Oh God.
Lance romance.
Preach romance.
Evan, do you like this girl, Evan?
Of course, yes. You know,
you've got to go big. You've got to do something.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you're risking too much by not doing something.
So Valentine's Day training camp.
Can I
go big?
Can I do something big?
Right.
Lance, honest opinion. Can I do something big Friday? She's also busy in the evening on Thursday. She's training too on Thursday.
No.
Straight up.
You have to do something on the day. You have to do something on the day.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could get like a coffee delivered to her on Thursday, like at work, man, that would be killer. That would be awesome.
That's not a bad idea.
Something small, not Lance romance style, not huge.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Legrand?
Oh man, so I'm really bad. I'm more like Jake. I think like I'll get all the workout stuff done during the day and stuff like that, and we won't do much of anything. We'll probably have a nice dinner, but it'll be with the family and the kids. It's not gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And we won't do big gifts, or we definitely don't do like chocolates and roses and weird stuff like that. We just keep it pretty mellow.
Yeah. So this is pretty much, I mean, Lance is the model you should follow here. And what are we doing at the stable right now? Lance is in a sunny place where he flew his wife out to, and I'm sitting here like, well, I got to run on the treadmill. So
14 miles on the treadmill.
What was that other question you had for us, Matt?
Yes, less difficult. I was curious about if you guys are on the YouTubes and you guys have cycling channels that you guys check out. So you've mentioned before like some ITU stuff. I don't know if you remember like the exact name of the YouTube channel.
Actually, so there's a couple I'm really watching pretty religiously right now. I watch the ITU channel because they have great full races on there. Cape Town just happened, which was really cool. I always listen to GCN. I think a lot of us here listen to GCN, which is a cycling network.
I haven't been listening to them as much, but they're fantastic. They're good.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah. And then have we talked about GTN, which is the Global Triathlon?
I've stopped listening to GTN.
I found that one to be pretty annoying.
Yeah. To be honest. So the triathlon ones.
It's not bad. It's just
so there's a couple little smaller ones I'll talk about, YouTube ones I talk about. So one is called Harry and Chris.
Okay.
Harry Palmer is this new professional triathlete who's doing a YouTube channel, and he's pretty cool actually.
Oh, I've seen this one.
It's really
he's
cool.
From England, and he's brand new. Brand new.
He's only got like 10,000, maybe 15,000 followers, but it's like it's a really cool channel. The video work is done by his buddy, and it's very good. I listen to Lionel Sanders all the time, and for running, the Athlete Special. Who's a current Georgetown runner who's really good. He's got great video work. He's a pretty interesting guy. Cycling wise, Orica Green Edge has a great channel. That is, once the cycling season comes in full, and especially once we get into like the Giro and the Vuelta and the Tour, everybody listening to this should tune into the Orica Green Edge. And you just
feel like part of their team, like you just root for them,
and
right?
I just screwed it up because they just got a new sponsor, didn't they? Are they still
Michelin? Is it?
Mitchell and Scott.
Mitchell and Scott. My bad. Seasons before was the Orca Green Edge team. Now it is the Mitchell and Scott team. Adam Yates, Simon Yates are on that team. The Yates brothers. Kayla is no. Caleb Ewan's not on their team anymore. No. Who's the young Hispanic? They've got another great young talent on that team. But they are an awesome group. Australian team, very fun. Yeah.
How about you, Lance? You watch a lot of the YouTubes?
My favorite channels are GCN, and there's also a mountain bike channel on there that I watch. And Jeff Lenoski, he is a professional mountain biker as well, so he is a fun guy. His videos are fun to watch. And then the vegan cyclist.
You watched that one? Yep, that was one of mine right there. Yeah, he's good.
I like him.
Yeah, he's good. He seems real. I of course am not vegan. I'm about as far as vegan as you could get, but his training and power and his family and where he lives, and he's near Yosemite and all that jazz. I like his stuff too.
Does he live in Big Bear? Where does he live, Lance?
No. He lives near a lake that's like 40 miles outside of Yosemite. So it's between Yosemite and Sacramento.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's one I watch a lot. And then I do like watching Phil Guyman's videos.
Oh, those are great. Phil Guyman. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. What is it? Something retirement?
The worst retirement ever.
Worst retirement ever. Yeah. And then now he switched it to best retirement ever, didn't he?
He might have, yeah.
I think he recently switched it to best retirement ever, yeah.
And then the one that I actually find myself watching more than any other cycling or other related is Matt LeGrand's station, little channel there.
I do.
See how we work that in there?
Yeah. No, not for nothing. I watch yours more than any other ones. I mean, the ones that I watch the most are probably like around photography and whatnot right now. It's just a couple different people that I've really kind of grown to like watching their stuff, and they put out stuff very regularly. But when it comes to anything in the endurance and cycling world, it's Matt. I watch all of his videos. They're great. So,
well, I put out especially a lot of swimming stuff right now, which must be a little bit annoying to watch.
You know what? I kind of watch it because I'm trying to learn stuff. My wife keeps coming and asking me questions about stuff because she's new to this whole triathlon world. So I'm trying to learn just to be supportive, and I enjoy watching stuff because I think you really do an exceptional job. He's very well produced, and it's very well edited and very well shot. And it's very artistic and informative.
We're working
on
it.
A great job.
We'll get better.
I've started to realize that how good your producing is as I watch other YouTube channels. Really, I'm starting to realize how actually good your footage is.
That guy Harry and Chris that you mentioned, I've watched a couple of their stuff, and I feel like Chris is the guy that's doing the producing and stuff like that, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
so, I think it's just the people that are taking the time to do it or whatever.
And there's a massive difference between good and bad. I'll use an example here. Durian Rider. Do you guys know who Durian Rider is?
I know who that is. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like banana a day or something. Yeah.
Very crass. Yeah, very, very crass. And I like the content that he's talking about, but the video work is garbage and he's just too crass. And it's like there's just this cockiness to him that's annoying. It's not this is going to be controversial. It's not the endearing confidence of like Lance Armstrong, like that genuine confidence. It's this like very fabricated sort of like look at me.
Cocky.
Yeah. He like posts a video. He's like, me dropping Chris Froome's like the title of the thing. And he doesn't mention that Chris is like at the end of some massively long ride during his carb deprivation phase of training. And Durian's like, look at me blowing away Chris Froome here. I was like, congratulations. Yeah, that's... I don't know. Just the video work is, if you look at one of Matt's videos and then compare it to that, or one of Harry and Chris's videos and compare it to that, you're like, this guy's got a ton of followers and just has not improved his videography by any means over the years.
Yeah, but I mean, I think people are attacking YouTube different directions, right?
Yeah.
Like some people are like, just put out as much massive content as possible. And if you can come up with controversial titles and thumbnails and things like that, then you can get a good following.
Clickbait,
and I mean, I think that's a great strategy for certain people or whatever. And then I think there's other people that are like, I just want this piece of art to go out there, and it's going to take me 2 years to put it out there. And that's cool too. Like, that's great. It's just, striking the balance is tricky to, figure out how you want to put your channel together if you want to do it. So
amen to that. All right, let's do one last thing, guys. Lance, I'm going to start with you. You might have one last things for us. What was one of them that you had while he's looking for his stuff? I'll just keep talking here.
I don't have two. I gotta find it because I'm using my phone to live stream the.
Okay, so while you're doing that, then I'm going to run around the table and we'll come back to you because I know that you've got a good one. Evan, one last thing.
So the Cape Town ITU race had just happened. So the ITU race season is kicking off. And it was really, really awesome to see in the men's race.
Yeah.
So the guy who won is this young guy named Alex Yee out of Great Britain. Super young kid. He ran, I think he ran 14:30, I believe, for his 5K. Just flying. This kid's young. He's really fast. But the most important part was in second place. I'm going to butcher his last name. I've watched him race for years. His name is Tony, and I'm just going to say S.
Okay.
His last name starts with an S. And he's an American ITU racer who's been progressing over the last couple years. And to watch him come in second was that was a big time race. Henry Skuman was there. Some of the big hitters there. I believe Varga was there. Like there were some big hitters at this race. And to see an American second there, I can't remember the last time an American made a podium in a big ITU race. I have no idea when. There's been some later season World Cup races when there's bigger races going on that maybe an American slipped onto the podium. But yeah, he's got a bona fide run, a really good swim. So yeah, he's
the real deal.
America, if we keep on progressing with our youth programs like we are, there's a chance that we may have an Olympian who's going to be close to that maybe not the podium, but at least the top 10 at the Olympics. Maybe I think we could slip an American in the top 10. Which would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, there's my one last thing.
Cool. Matt, one last thing.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the training camp, and I guess my vow to the group that's listening here is that I will try to produce some sort of video. We'll have a lot of people down there with a lot of camera equipment and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so I'm going to try to at least put one video together, potentially two videos kind of the training camp, because we'll have bikes coming together and all kinds of stuff to talk about for sure. And so I'd love to put together a lot of content. And so we could potentially post it in a number of different locations. We have the Dial Podcast YouTube channel and things like that. We have team channels and things like that. And then we have my channel as well. But it will probably pay for at least by the time I take the time to edit stuff and put things together. I could do that while we recover from rides.
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes. But my guess is that it'll probably be a week or two after the camp before I actually post stuff. So yeah, I'll get it up as soon as possible.
I'm almost done.
All right, Lance, you ready? What you got, buddy?
I found it.
All right, one last thing.
All right, this is in response to our discussion from 2 weeks ago when Matt and Evan went off about participation medals. And,
we went off about something?
Yeah, what are you talking
about? So I know we don't actually completely disregard participation medals, but we did have a lively discussion about it. So I got this response from Ryan Lee, the guy's house who I was staying at last week. And these are his top 10 things that are great about participation medals.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Number 10, some can be used as paperweights, belt buckles, or bottle openers.
Good point.
Number 9, they last longer than T-shirts, and you can wash them less frequently. Number 8, in the Pacific Northwest, they are officially recyclable.
Oh.
Number 7... hanging them in your office is far less awkward than wearing the race T-shirt to work every day.
Good point.
Number 6, when the emotion and memories of the accomplishment fades, they are much easier to get rid of than tattoos.
Definitely.
Number 5, if I die prematurely, they are proof that I ran the race when my ex-wife sees the T-shirt and tells the kids I just passed out water.
That's a good one. These are so good.
that may be my favorite one. That's a good one.
Number 4, hanging them on a wall is better than the picture crossing the finish line because, frankly, I always look like hell in those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, you can make fun of the racers on the podium by saying, "Hey, look, I got one too."
That is very true. That's very true.
Number 2, you can give them to your spouse or significant other when you finish because sometimes it's their sacrifice that makes your participation possible.
That's nice.
Oh, now I feel bad.
And number 1, For some, it is only enough to win the race, and for some, they make the podium, and for some to cross the finish line. But for most, just lining up the starting line is the true victory. Try and remember, winning takes many forms, and the meaning of commemorative artifact or symbol resides in the heart and mind of he or she who holds it, not in the artifact itself. I mean, hey, Lance Armstrong still keeps his yellow jerseys in his man cave, and he officially didn't win any of them.
I was so on Ryan's side that entire last way until that last comment. Really, we're going to throw Lance under the bus here at the very end there. That's if you win 7 yellow jerseys, you can do whatever you want with those yellow jerseys.
Ryan, thanks for putting together that list.
It was awesome.
Thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely fantastic.
I like that last one. He makes a good point. I also like the giving it to the people who lug your crap around and deal with you being, angry or mad before and after the race. I think I like that. The people around you supporting, giving them the medal.
Yeah. I've done some charity rides before and they hand out little medals or whatnot, and I usually just give them to my kids.
Yeah.
So the kids dig that, but
yeah.
Buy a t-shirt. Just kidding. All right, my one last thing. I need a sponsor. I need somebody to pay for my new SRAM access setup.
Me and Jake were just talking about this before this.
SRAM access.
SRAM access is
want to give us one SRAM
legit, but oh my God, is that stuff expensive?
I look at the prices. It's like one buy, still $3,000.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
If you're going to get the full group set, like cranks and everything with the power meter, you're over $4,000 into that setup. Jeez. However, that stuff is awesome. It is so great. I am going to go on the record and say that I'm ready to fully switch everything, all bikes, over to SRAM now.
If they sponsor us.
If they sponsor us.
SRAM, we will slip you at least once into every single podcast indiscretionally, just kind of in there,
I'll talk for an hour and a half about SRAM.
How slick is that stuff, though? I mean, it's pretty nice. There were deficits between them and with their ETAP and the Shimano Dura with their Di2 setup. Sorry, and they covered all those gaps, and I think that they've got that 12-speed looks buttery smooth. Yeah. The gear ratios that you can get out of the bike and being able to hammer harder on the flats and still being able to spin on the climbs and not have to coin toss which crankset or which drivetrain you're going to put on your bike based on what kind of riding you can cover all of that stuff with this stuff. It's awesome, and their old stuff is still good. And Ryan or Evan and I were talking about this before the podcast. Like, I still need to complete my TT bike build, and I was going to do it with Shimano, but I decided to go SRAM because Shimano, it's just I can't get the stuff that I need right now. Plus, being able to run everything wirelessly and not have to screw around with that in a TT frame that's just going to make a lot more sense. So I've already decided that I'm going the route of SRAM, and I have it. It's all loaded up in a cart to purchase the stuff that I need for the SRAM, but I knew that there was something coming down. There was like some whispers from a couple different people that I talked to, and they said it should be coming out or being announced this week. And sure enough, it was announced last week, and I've been reading and watching and checking out everything that I can in terms of reviews, and everybody's just like kind of gushing about the stuff. But it's so stinking expensive.
Yeah.
So I might end up just for the TT bike, because I don't need to dump that much money into a TT bike. I'm going to probably go with the older ETAP stuff. But for my new bike in the future, it will probably have that as opposed to the Di2 setup. So
nice.
Nice stuff. Drool. Let me wipe the drool off.
Yeah. A lot of drooling. Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to make your mind up whether or not you think you're going to have that on a future bike?
I mean, if it comes a little bit further down that price point, absolutely, I would go with. I mean, I'm kind of with you on this. I'm going to go ETAP right now on the frame, but that's.
I've heard, and I don't know if this is verified yet, but they're going to introduce the technology, because pretty much if you wanted to run electronic shifting, you had to run the ETAP Red, and they didn't have lower levels. Kind of like Shimano would have the Dura-Ace, and then they have the Ultegra, and then there's whispers that they're going to even have it in the 105 now.
Right.
But they're talking about having it in some of their lower level stuff.
Are you talking about the Force?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's their next line down is the Force. You go from Red to Force, and that's rumored that they would have wireless.
Force was my mechanical shifting for a while, and I loved it. It was great. So I mean, if they could add electronic to that, that'd be great.
I've heard rumors of the same thing. I don't know. I don't have any trustworthy rumors.
Anyway,
so who knows?
So if you want to sponsor us,
please,
that'd be great. SRAM, if you want to sponsor us too, that'd be fantastico. So, all right, that is a wrap for this show. If you guys want to check us out more and get involved with us a little bit more, look us up on Instagram on at Dial Podcast, on the Facebook pages at Dial Podcast, or email any of us our first names at dialpodcast.com. We would be more than happy to talk with you, and if you've got some show ideas or some things that you'd like to talk to us about, that'd be great. Feel free to chime in on our YouTube channel when we live stream these things Mondays at noon. We got to figure out what we're going to do when we're down at camp, how we're going to run that. But stay tuned on that, because next week we will actually be down in San Diego at this time. So we may or may not be live streaming it next week, but we'll figure something out to say hi to y'all. Anyway, you guys, again, as always, this is the best part of my week.
Absolute pleasure.
It's fun times. Lance, drive safe down there. Enjoy the sun, and soak up some of that vitamin D for us.
Please.
Yes.
We're all dying. I'm so pasty white right now. It's ridiculous.
I'm see-through over here.
All right. And for all of those who listened on the live stream, thank you for chiming in and saying hi. And we will catch you guys next week. Bye for now.